Thanks for staying to your station, the Africa Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. On this channel and on this program, we bring you every security information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Welcome to the program today. Today, we'll be looking at a very interesting topic, a topic that most people are concerned and worried about. That is talking about food insecurity. Food insecurity. Everybody requires food, no matter who you are. Both the rich and the not too rich, they require to eat to have energy. So what is happening to food in Nigeria, particularly Nigeria, but Africa and the whole world generally? We have our guest who is already seated here in the studio. And last week, this week precisely, we were among those selected to visit the Lake Chad Basin to find out what the Multinational Joint Task Force is doing in terms of providing security of lives and properties and guaranteeing, again, like I said, food security, because for those who may not know, the Lake Chad Basin is one of the leading, if not the leading, food baskets of Nigeria, because all kinds of food, stuff, and agricultural products, and even fishing comes from that area. But due to insecurity, it has been nothing but the Multinational Joint Task Force, with all the operation, particularly the current operation going now, Operation Lake Sanity 2, is guaranteeing that farmers and fishermen must return back to their business. And indeed, Security Watch Africa covered it, and we can report that things are getting good again and the Lake Chad Basin, particularly in Baga, which is known as the home of fishing. Sit back as we just give you a tease of what we have. Security Watch Africa, Julie Daniels was there, and she did give us a snippet. By next week, we'll be bringing you the detailed report of what is happening in the Lake Chad, cutting across Nigeria, Cameroon, and Chad Republic. Security Watch Africa had presence in these three countries. Sit back.
We are here in Cameroon, Derak precisely, and behind me is the popular Lake Chad. And you can see fishermen carrying out their activities. You know, fishery is going on without fear of being terrorized by the terrorists. Kudos to the Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, for the wonderful work they are doing so far, making sure that the populace, the citizens of this community are safe and sound.
Yeah, welcome back. By next episode of this program, we'll bring you detailed reports of what we saw in Cameroon, Nigeria, and the Chad area of the Lake Chad Basin. But back to the studio, I have my guest seated there already, our regular analyst, in person of Chimezie Amanya-Dike, a social commentator. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, we'll be looking at the threats of acute food insecurity in Nigeria and its dangers. Let me start from, I don't know how to say it, but there is this popular saying that a hungry man is an angry man.
Yes.
Have we gotten to that point yet?
I think I can say that we are not there, even though a lot of fears have been heightened. We are not there yet, but I can tell you that, yes, we are practically headed there. but we are not there yet. Almost there, but not yet fully there.
In fact, almost there, not there yet. But really, I think we need to be able to sound it the way it is.
Yes.
We had some clips, I don't know if it's ready, where some of the market traders are crying out the cost of food items already. Even the traders themselves are crying, talk less of the buyers. I don't know if we'll have some of those. Okay, if we can hear some of them raise this alarm also to say.
Cost for markets. Now that they say now fuel, it's because of the fuel price will go up. Now make that they increase the transportation. That's why they add money for all those things wey cost. You understand? So we don't know. They say they ask the government, say please, if you can help the poor masses because they are the ones suffering for these prices of things wey cost. Before this groundnut oil, we used to buy at 30,000, 35. Now it's 21,000. And if you set the price now, you tell the poor man, they say the price is 700 naira. They cannot afford to eat it. The one that we reject, that we are not even buying before, that is what we are selling now. Even that one myself is still cost. You understand? Transportation is, let me say 3 times. Because from here to my state, we pay 5,000 before. Now it's 11,000. We never even enter the December period. It's because of the fuel price. It's too cost. So we want government to do something about it.
It is extremely high, extremely. When I mean extremely high. Imagine before I do buy picnic, like let me say 1,000, but now picnic now, just picnic for my baby. Look, my baby here is 1,800. Even when I had to drag with the man. So even onion, I couldn't buy onion because as low as before I used 200 naira onion in a month, but now I can't even buy 200 naira onion. Imagine 4 pieces of onion, 200 naira. What in this country where we Kaduna here we do produce onion. You see onion lying on the ground, but now you can't even see onion in the market. Not talk about buying it for 200 naira. Things are extremely high. Rice is no go area. Gari that common men do drink. Now you cannot even buy gari.
People don't have option. They don't have option. They will come and buy because they cannot stay hungry. No matter the price of the good, they still come and patronize us.
In fact, the last part, people don't have option because when you are hungry, you must eat. Though malnutrition may come in if you don't eat what you're supposed to eat to keep your health. There was a time in Nigeria we used to hear of kwashiorkor because of no food, and I just hope we are not getting there. But rising from what we had those people speak, I think 2 things or 3 things I can bring out so that you can look at it. One is that the foodstuffs, the food items are not even there. And when you go, like she mentioned, the Kaduna where you used to have the onions, it's no longer in production. We don't have it because maybe farmers are not farming or what. 2, the other lady talked about transportation, cost of transportation, which is, okay, the rising cost of the fuel price because of removal of fuel subsidy. And how can we balance all this?
Okay, I think first and foremost, we have to tackle the problem from the root, and that is over the years we've had this very nauseating indifference to agriculture.
Yeah.
And of course, we Nigerians, we like to conveniently forget things that we are directly responsible for. For the past 25, 30 years, there has been no intentional focus, no intentional attention paid to agricultural productivity, commercially, or even the subsistence farming that we used to know back in the days has practically disappeared. And right now, we are facing the consequences of over 20 years of inactivity, inaction. Then coupled with the global recessions that have happened, as well as the rising cost of petrol with the, should I call it the partial removal of subsidy. Of course, you expect things to go up with the attendant increase in the cost of transportation. Now, I think that it's the only way to tackle this is to face the problem head on. There are too few farmers, and there is too little support given to those that are willing to farm, those that are willing to get their knees and hands dirty with, tilling the ground and all of that. There is practically no support for them. If you look at the the 3 tiers of government. The local governments are actually supposed to be the ones directly involved with agricultural productivity, with focus on agricultural education, agricultural extension officers, and the rest of it. You go through the 774 local governments in the federation. You will not find one active. Yes, they could be labeled. There could be a department,
On paper.
but it's just on paper.
Yeah.
You will not find one active, professional doing anything. So we cannot build something on nothing. If you look at the state governments as well, there is no intentional program on commercial farming or agricultural farming. You will always see that it is individuals, it is those that have consistently tried to do their best in productivity. But at the end of the day, there is still not that framework, framework for government to really, really pay attention to and support. And I think that until in fact, we have to declare emergency, state of emergency on agriculture. I think we've gotten to that point. Okay. Because if not, we might not really be decisive.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something about support. The immediate past government, of course, they may also have their faults.
Yes.
But one thing I think we can give credit to them is attention to agriculture.
Yes.
It was like a policy of the government to
Yes.
ensure that, in fact, that Nigeria survived during the COVID period was because of the government policies, ensuring that there is food.
Yes.
The Central Bank of Nigeria was of great assistance and making sure that the agro, whatever business was thriving and it was working well. But this present government, I think one of the policies is that Central Bank has nothing to do with agriculture, with food, that it should be commercial bank activities, and now they have stopped all the support. Don't you think it's a policy that has not helped?
I believe strongly, yes, of course. I don't think the central bank has any, I don't think they have any authority for such interventions. But like we earlier said, when there is a time of war, let's just say, because we are at war with food.
Yes.
We are at war with food, so we are in a situation of emergency. I think that there has to be special measures taken to be able to battle and fully confront this issue of food insecurity. And I think that the attempts by the last administration really helped, because during the global lockdown, Nigerians did not experience this kind of food insecurity at all. There was availability of food, and people had access to basic food commodities and all of that. Why? Because the administration intentionally made sure that everybody went back to the farms.
It's part of the security.
Yes, yes. They didn't just go back to the farms. Government made sure that they were provided with support. Though the policies of course, we are in Nigeria and we know how we like to mismanage things. Though some of the policies were mismanaged, but to a great extent, the policies yielded results in making sure that we did not have food shortages of any kind. Within a global lockdown, like there was no shipping, there was no business, nothing. And yet, Nigerians did not suffer food shortage. So I think that in as much as the current administration has seen the loopholes in those policies, I don't think it was best to just throw it out of the window. Because throwing it out of the window has immediately resulted in
the government said they should open our borders for food importation.
Food importation. I mean, there was something the chairman of the Dangote Group said in one of his recent videos. He said, when you do that, you are importing poverty and exporting productivity to other countries. Yeah. And so when you export productivity, you're actually improving the economies of other nations. But even though they said it's for 150 or 180 days, I can't rightly recall. But I mean, once that opportunity is opened, I don't think Nigerians would want to go back to, well, I don't know what they have in mind, but I think it's a knee-jerk approach to something that should have been properly arranged and structured in line with the previous policies, and then, created a sort of framework to make sure that what we are experiencing right now would not have been experienced.
Yeah, apart from even boosting the economy of those countries, also looking at the health danger. I remember some time ago
Yes.
where expired rice were being imported, even plastic rice.
Plastic rice, yes.
Plastic rice were being imported until we started growing our own rice, but now we are not growing any longer because of these
There's lack of
policies,
support,
lack
yeah.
of support. But let's look at the angle this lady also, one of the ladies talked about transportation.
Transportation.
You see, because even as we talk about the food production, if we have these agricultural activities happening and food are being produced and they are not transported on time, some of these food products are perishable.
Yes, very.
They get spoiled. Then we talk about moving them again is the problem. Bad roads. So how do you think we can improve on this transportation system?
Well, like I said earlier, we did not do what we are supposed to do when we were supposed to do them. And of course, the consequences have come to stare us right in the face. When you look at the road networks, Nigeria is still battling to reduce the road transportation deficit in the country. And then when you look at the fact that also with the increment in the cost of PMS, transportation also...
Because it used to be, a year ago it was 100 or something,
yes,
now it's 700.
Yes, it's 700.
In some places, 1,000
yes.
officially.
Yes, yes. So I want to believe also that with the right partnership with, one of the things I always tell people, and I've always had this conversation with a lot of my friends and colleagues, that attention is not being paid to what state governments do with the allocations they receive. Because some of these roads we are referring to for transportation are state roads and local government roads. Local government, farmers do not need expressway. Just tear the roads. They just need the roads to be graded so that they can bring their produce out. And then the state government will take over from there and work on the state roads so that they can take this produce to maybe where they are aggregated. And maybe build, you don't have to build a very sophisticated storage facility where they would just keep it and, make sure that their produce does not expire.
I remember that in 2021 and 2022, the former president also was very angry with the state governors that they are building flyovers in most capital cities where it's not necessary. Why don't they go to the locals and get these roads done? You see, when you come to a state where you have beautiful flyovers in the state capital, but where it matters, no single road.
Nothing.
Is there no way to make these state governments more accountable to the needs of the people?
Well, I think the first step has been taken by granting the local governments financial autonomy. I remember back then when my father's younger brother was a local government chairman, I remember the speed with which all those village roads were graded. It was the responsibility of the local government, and he made sure he executed most of them. So I think the first step has been taken by removing, granting the local governments financial autonomy to focus on the core responsibility of engaging with the grassroots, providing them with road infrastructure, providing them with farming inputs.
This agricultural extension.
Exactly. And they have these departments in the local governments, but you don't see any kind of productivity in them.
I remember when we were in school, secondary school, we used to have farms.
Yes.
Our school, we used to be
every student would have, you have a portion of the school farm where you cultivate. And
it takes care of our own,
exactly.
We're in the boarding house, takes care of our food production.
Exactly.
Is it not possible to get this thing back again?
I think, with what is facing us, everybody is beginning to realize that we need to pay attention to these things, go back to them. Back then, my mom is a retired secondary school teacher. She was allocated a farm in the school, and we, the children, would go and work on the farm. Then we didn't buy yams, we didn't buy cassava, we didn't buy some of these basic staple foods. We cultivated them from that farm. So I think with what is facing Nigerians right now, and with the delay with some of these government interventions and policies, people are beginning to look at helping themselves. Wherever you have a piece of, a corner of earth, just plant something, put something there so that you don't have to worry about, the rising cost of food commodities and all of that.
I was discussing with a community union the other day. They say they have a common land in their community, and that they intend to build a shopping mall, a shopping plaza and all that. And I was talking to the president. I said, why don't you become a community farm? Instead of a shopping mall and a shopping, become a community farm where everybody can benefit. He said, who is going to farm it? That people don't see farming as something that is dignifying. That most of the young men want white-collar jobs, they want all these things. And this is, I said, okay, but they are mechanized farming.
Yes.
You go to the north, you see everywhere is farming. Now, is the plantings, most of them have gone to, if you have a security man who is, this time he's going up because he say he wants to go and farm.
Yes, I have this cobbler, that's what he does.
Is there no way that can be adopted as a national policy that there should be dignity in agriculture?
Well, you can take a horse to the spring, you cannot force it to drink water. The example you just gave is a typical issue with, how the mindset of a lot of Nigerians. We look down so much, we disrespect the dignity of agriculture because we think it is below us. And at the same time, we don't look down on food because we know we need it.
Exactly.
We need it. So I believe that what I think is that government should look at, there are some farms that have done a great job with mechanized and industrial farming and all of that. Look at farm settlements. Look for a way to replicate them across the 774 local governments in the country. And then bring up some of the rural people there. Don't forget about those that have left, that are looking at white-collar jobs. They will not want to go back. They will always believe it's beneath them. Those ones that are still in the villages, bring them up, co-opt them into the system, train them, and then put them within the system so that they will be able to see it as a career instead of as a stopgap. Let me just manage it so that if I pass my JAMB, I'll go to the university and then go to be a doctor, whatever the case may be. Let them see it as a career in farming so that they would proudly say, I'm a farmer, I'm an industrial farmer, and then support them with agricultural inputs, like the tractors and the harvesters and the rest of them.
For some of us who experienced a bit of the military rule, I remember the River State, the old River State then. There was this Fidelis Oyakilome, a former military administrator of River State then. He introduced what they call a school-to-land program, where immediately you finish school, you must go to farm. It was like a compulsory school, the government schools, and people were working there, people were farming there. It was like, and agricultural produce were coming. When the governor of, the past governor of River State was, again, Mechi came in, introduced the Songhai farming, where they were saying that youth service corps members who come to the state, that certain number of persons must go and be part of this. And that helped, for instance. I know that people will have democracy, people are free to choose what they want to do. But since we were in a critical situation, before hunger set so terribly, how can we get these things? How can we get people back again? How attractive? I remembered again that there was a loan that was being given to young men who wants to go into farming. But they collected this money and disappeared, and jackpot, some of them did, and they never did anything. They gave them appliances and all that. This apathy, is there anything that can be done at all to change it?
Oh, yes, most definitely. It's paying the right kind of attention. Like I said initially, because what I believe is that those of us that are already working in organized private sector, those have been introduced into organized private sector, blue-collar jobs, and the rest of them will not, and I say it again, will not, if there would be any very, very insignificant, little number, they would not want to. So I think
but
that...
they can own a farm. I know some people who are in public service today, especially, who owns farms.
Oh, yes. You can own a farm, but the people that would man them is also the issue. So I'm talking about recruitment. Going into using the same secondary school model. that you talked about earlier. Impress upon the young people. Productivity is not about cryptocurrency,
Yeah,
all those
exactly.
betting. And, no. You have to be productive. You have to be very intentionally productive. And the only way you can do that is agriculture, which is the oldest vocation,
Yeah.
which is the
Of
most
course.
dignified and
most
the oldest
You go
vocation.
to South Africa, the richest people in South Africa
Are the farmers.
Are farmers.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
They are
and so-
yes. That is the thing. So, but what I think is that there has to be the incentive to encourage the young people
All right.
to go
go
to farms.
into
You
it.
cannot tell them to use hoe and shovel and the rest of them that their grandfathers used. If you bring in tractors, harvesters, planters, there's that excitement in young
right.
people. They will just want to quickly, I drove a tractor today and all of that. And if they do it over a lot of time. They will
become
just
the
want to be,
lifestyle.
yes.
In fact, this will continue with this conversation very
problem.
soon, and then we'll also be looking at how this can help to eradicate insecurity,
Oh, yes.
threat to life
Oh,
in
yes.
Nigeria and other things. You mentioned local government autonomy. We should have to also look at it. It's a pleasure having you on the
Thank you
program
very
once
much.
again. Thank you so much. Yes, viewers, if you are joining us, this is the end of this episode of this program. We have looked at the threat of acute food insecurity in Nigeria, the dangers and the solutions of we said it. Government must support agriculture, and that is the only way out, or else, because we're already having a state of emergency in food in Nigeria, on food in Nigeria. Until we come here again next week, I say thanks for staying tuned. Do follow us on all our social media platforms. Until next week, I say bye for now and remain blessed.